You ready, Stephen? All right, call the Board of Selectmen meeting in order for the March 5th at 7:03. Everybody stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Is there any public comment? Any public comment going twice? Any public comment going third? No public comment. Please remember the Board of Select members to put on your microphones. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes for the February 18th, 2025 public hearing on potential name change of the park currently known as Broad Street Park?
So moved.
Motion by Al Bruno,
Second.
second by Teresa Conroy. Discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Thank you. Chair votes aye, motion carries 4-0-2. Please note Trish Danka and Pat Lombardi's abstention. Item number 5, approval of the minutes from the February 18th, 2025 public hearing on the potential sale of 150-170 Main Street to the State of Connecticut DOT for upgrades to the Waterbury Branch Line, Main Street, Connecticut. This is approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Teresa Conroy,
Second.
second by Al Bruno. Discussion.
If I may, I would like to note a correction in the minutes. The fourth paragraph from the bottom, my discussion, first line talks about economic liability. It states liability. It should read viability, economic viability of downtown Seymour.
With that change, we will have Leanna make that change. With that change, can I have a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Noes, abstains? Chair votes aye, motion carries 4-0-2. Please note the abstentions of Pat Lombardi and Trish Danka. Thank you.
Excuse me, Madam Select. The public hearing minutes has me present and absent for the 6:30.
Okay. We will have that. For which one?
The
For both of them?
6:30 p.m.
The 6:30 one? Okay.
6:45 is correct.
6:30 p.m. is wrong, so we'll have Leanna correct that. Okay.
We felt your presence.
Yeah, we did.
I'm sorry. And the minutes have me as present.
We will have those. Thank you. Approval of the minutes from the February 18, 2025 public hearing on the resolution for the town of Seymour to join the Connecticut Municipal Redevelopment Authority.
So moved.
Motion by Al Bruno,
Second.
second by Teresa Conroy. Discussion?
There is one paragraph in there where town council clarified what it was. It says the purpose is to simulate economic. It probably meant to be stimulate. So we
economic
can just
development.
correct that.
We will have Leanna correct that one as well. Any further discussion on that one? No? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Noes?
Abstain.
I was getting there. Chair votes aye. 4-0-2. Approval of the minutes from February 18th, 2025 regular meeting. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Al,
Second.
second by Teresa, sorry. Discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Noes? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you. Chair votes aye, motion carries 4-0-2. Item number 8, set section 7-163E, the public hearing for Tuesday, April 1st, 2025 at the 6:45 in the Norma Drummer Room of Seymour Town Hall for the potential sale of townhome property at 100 Prospect Street. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Pat Lombardi, second by Al Bruno. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye, motion carries 6-0-0. Thank you. Discussion and possible action regarding the Culture and Arts Mural Project on Broad and Main Streets. We have the Culture and Arts Committee here. Whoever wants to come up and start the discussion is great. Please state your name for the record.
Linda Belvant, 7 Molsick Road.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Okay, we had a handout. Everybody got a copy of a handout?
Yes.
Okay, before I even start, I just want you to know that this is just a mock-up. We have not had any meetings where we have discussed or decided what will go on the wall, but this was just something to kind of give you an idea of, what we were thinking. Something bright, something colorful. It would definitely say "Welcome to Seymour," but whether it would be flowers and whatever, we have no idea. We haven't got that far yet. So just so that you know, we are only in the very beginning of the planning stages because obviously we could not do anything until we secured funds. So we started working on the project just about a year ago, and we met with Amanda Polano, who is the muralist that we're going to work with. She's here tonight, so that when I'm done, if you have any questions, she could answer them for you. So we met with her. We got a price. We went over all the specifics, and so then it was our job to come up with the funds. We just recently were given a grant from the Valley Foundation, Community Foundation, which was wonderful. And so with money that we have left over from this year's budget of ours, the grant money, and we will probably have to take a few thousand of our budget after July 1st to pay for the whole thing. That's what we feel that we have enough money to go forward, to sign a contract, work with Amanda. We meet a week from tonight. And so when we have our meeting on Tuesday, Amanda will come and we will get going on, the ideas of what we are thinking, actually would be on the wall. We will see if her prices have gone up from last year because it was a year ago. We didn't get anything in writing because we didn't have any money, and we did not want to put upon her too much in case we never had any money to pay for it. So we, again, are at the very beginning of this project. It would be something that would be done, mid to late spring when the weather got nice, and it would take, I have no idea how long. Again, that depends on the rain and, whatever. But hopefully it would be done this summer. It, again, is the wall, I'm sure you're all familiar with it, at the corner of Broad Street in Maine. And that corner happens to be our adopt-a spot. So we do the flowers there and the seasonal decorations and whatever. So it would be that wall. And I don't remember off the top of my head how long the wall is. It's pretty long. We would not do the whole thing because the cost would be a lot. We would. If you go by the wall, you'll notice it's sections. And they might be, I don't know, are they 6-foot sections or? 4 or 5 feet each section. So we were thinking 4 or 5 sections of the wall. Of course, it would start on the road, at the road, and as the wall goes down like this, it gets smaller. So when you get down to the smaller part, which is further away from the street, the less able that anybody's able to see, that would be the part that we would not do. So again, that would depend on the price and what have you. So we would have to get somebody to actually power wash, because the wall's very dirty. Power wash the wall. We did talk a little bit with the fire department to see if they could do it. I don't know if that we don't know. We didn't really. We asked if they thought they could, and they said maybe they could, and but there's no power there. There's no to run a machine like the kind of machine I'm thinking of. I don't know if they would use a fire truck. I have no idea. But we have to get the wall power washed first. Once it's all clean, Amanda would do a primer on it, like say it would be a blue primer, and then on top of that would be the mural, and then we're thinking of having it a coat, some kind of covering to, make it last maybe an extra year, in the sun, like you would do at home, you'd put, varnish or polyurethane or whatever. So it would be, we might have to hire someone to power wash if the fire company can't do it. And that's it. That's it in a nutshell. That's, we don't really have a lot of specifics because we haven't got that far yet.
Thank you so much. We could, it's a wonderful idea. I love it. And I know you haven't set the colors yet. We were talking maybe blue and gold as
Yes,
it's
Judy
Seymour's
told me
color.
that, yeah.
Right. The power washing of the wall, we could talk to Public Works,
Okay.
see if
Oh,
they
all
could
right,
do
okay,
it.
yeah.
We can get they probably have a generator. We can get
Okay.
them a generator to do that,
That
to
would be
keep
good,
it
yeah.
inside. I'll talk to
Yeah.
Frank about that and go from there.
And
then
one
a-
other thing, just to let you know, Emery, at the last year, the
Mm-hmm.
very beginning, before we even started, we did some research and we found out who we had to talk to from the state, which I did. Had very many conversations with him, and he looked at the site, said that wouldn't be a problem, but you can't get permit in hand until they actually see what you're putting up there. So when we decide what it's going to look like, I would then send him a picture, and then they review it. He says it's a couple of weeks turnaround, and then they would issue us a permit. So we can get a permit, that we know, and it's just a matter of them approving, and I know that anything that we pick would not be a problem. So it's not like we're doing, Dungeons and Dragons or, whatever. So I know there would be no problem, but they won't give you the permit unless they actually see what the mural will look like.
That's true, because we were trying to get the piers underneath the Route 8 bridge painted, and they approved murals to go on there as well. They have to approve the drawings, and there's a certain paint we have to use. So after this one's done, if the Culture and Arts would like to take that one on as well, we already have the approval from the DOT. All we have to do is designs. So we're trying to work with the high school teacher, but they wanted to work with us because of safety concerns for the kids. It's kind of hard. So we could talk after this design is done if that's something Culture and Arts would like to take on as well.
Okay, good.
Okay. Is there any other?
Yeah, that's all I have for just to kind of give you a.
Okay, Alberta?
Yeah, I said it. Thank you for coming
Oh, you're
tonight and
welcome.
letting us know about this, because I think it's a great idea, because that wall is pretty dank and
Yeah.
disgusting and ugly, and it's right in the center of our town.
It's very
So-
noticeable.
Yeah,
and it will be very
And
noticeable.
Sonia did a nice job on the side of a building. It's like a postcard, welcome to Aunt Sonia. Really was a nice touch in their downtown, so it's good to see this. The only thing I would want to caution you guys about is I was just thinking off the top of my head, we've had some vandalism in town, so this is going to be high enough maybe to prevent somebody from being attracted to maybe tag that or do something to it.
Well, it's never been tagged before, number one. So hopefully, and because it's in such a visible, well-traveled area,
Yeah.
we're hoping not.
Yeah.
But at Christmas time, poor Santa lost his head on
Yeah,
the
I mean,
gazebo.
stuff happens, right?
Right, exactly.
I'm not trying to put the
no,
Maloik
no.
on it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just bringing
Yeah,
something up.
right.
Yeah.
And that's why I think also if we have a coat of something put over the actual mural, that would help protect
Yeah,
it.
I
so
think there
that
is
if
something
we
that
have
will
to
help
scrub it
with that.
down or
Yeah.
whatever. But anyway,
Just,
that's
I'm
something.
sure you guys
yeah.
have thought about it. I'm just
Yes.
voicing it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's
We
all,
have
before I forget.
almost everything that we do. We have always had a vandalism problem. Every item that we do, snowmen have been ripped down, flowers have been ripped down, scarecrows have been thrown on the railroad tracks. We've seen it all. Santa lost his head. So it's it's sad, but
Yeah.
we know that that's but hopefully because of its location and the constant traffic and
Yeah.
the lights,
well lit.
yeah. And just so that we did when it didn't work last spring because of the cost, one of the things we did work with Amanda on, because as you talk about other communities, I'm sure you've driven like through Hamden and New Haven, and they have the boxes, the big electrical boxes with pictures on them. So I called my friend at the state and said, gee, you know, can we do that? Maybe we'll do 2 or 3 on Main Street or something like that. He said, oh yeah, that's fine. Just again, give me I said it'd probably be a bird or, you know, it won't be anything big.
Yeah.
And so we got all hepped up, and Amanda did us some drawings and what have you. And so then when I contacted him again to find out what was the next step I had to do, I actually showed him the pictures of what we would do, and they were birds. And he said, oh, that's great. Yeah, you can do that. We got all excited. And then the line on the bottom was, oh, I don't know if I ever mentioned to you, but you can't paint on the boxes. You have to do a wrap, which is a vinyl, which is a lot more money. It's a lot of work. And that went down the tubes. We decided not to do that. Although we did investigate, and New Haven's are painted right on the boxes, and Hamden's are painted right on the boxes. And when I asked him how those communities got away with just painting on the boxes, he never answered me. So I have a feeling it's like they did it and they didn't ask. You know how, do it and then ask for forgiveness later, it was one of those. Yeah, so theirs are done and they look lovely. And that's what we wanted to do, but we didn't want to do a wrap. That's a lot of work and a lot of money, So anyway, just so you know, we did look into that too. That would have been very, very nice, but it didn't work out.
Thank you. Kurt, you had something to say? Sorry.
Yeah, just as a matter of process, if the intention is to use this year's budget to pay for something next year, just want to make sure that one of you comes in and gets the money encumbered, so that when we're doing the year-end closeout, we make sure that the money's kept aside.
Just so they take care of that.
Yeah, just to make sure somebody does that,
Oh,
so you don't lose the money.
Oh, definitely. We'll do that.
Thank you. Pat?
Yes.
Just a couple of comments. As far as the vandalism or anything, I've had this happen before with our skate park where we had to have the artists come back and do the repainting. So that's the nature of the beast, I guess, if you will. However, I'm delighted to hear this. I've lived here for 48 years. It's been a complete eyesore. It's been neglected. And any improvement to the gateway of our community will be an improvement. So my hat's off to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Trish?
I'm just curious. I think it's a wonderful idea. I've been looking for Seymour to do something like this for years, and it's exciting. I am just curious, and I'm sorry if you said it and I missed it. How long, and I know you're going to treat it so it lasts longer. How long does something like this usually last before it has to be redone or touched up?
I don't know if I have an answer for that one. Because it really depends on a lot of factors. I mean, it could last for a long time though. And I can always come back and do touch-ups and stuff if things are getting affected by weather more than normal, but.
That's all I'm thinking, being in New England. I know other towns do it, but I was just curious how long before we have to start touching it up.
I don't have an exact answer for that, sorry, but.
I think the sun is the biggest killer.
Yeah.
I know at home, anything I paint outside in the sun, fades very quickly, so.
Does that just directly hit that?
I don't know, I've never been there at all times of the day, so that I don't know.
I'm just thinking for future budgets you put forth too, you might want to talk about like just something small for touch-ups if it's needed, so that it stays nice looking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. I'm sorry, when do you plan on doing this?
Oh, well, it would be Amanda, on the paperwork that I was reviewing today that she'd given us last year. When we meet next week, she will kind of give us an idea of what her schedule looks like. So,
For this year?
yes.
Good.
What
Good.
does she have open? When does she think she can do it? And we'll go from there.
Good. And I also see, we have in front of us this downtown action strategy. This is from 2012 that it was printed. And in here, it does have murals for downtown Seymour about artwork in there. So I'm right here, I just
Does
flipped
it say
open.
where?
Page 16, I mean, they just had something on the Strand Building where it said, Seymour. I mean, they were just
Oh.
mock-ups too.
Oh, okay.
But in here, they were talking about doing paintings and things in town, so you might want to, it's online, this Seymour Economic Development Commission Downtown Action Strategy, to get some more ideas. So it's good to see that we're starting to finally put some plans in action.
Right, and when you drive through other communities such as Hamden or, even driving down 95, if any of you drive down 95 and go like to
Sure.
the Cape, and you see like the bridges right on the highway.
Providence and.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
right.
absolutely beautiful,
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful, and it makes a difference.
It does.
It just
It does.
makes you smile and it brightens up the area, and so that is, a great place to have it, because, how much traffic is there all day long? People, like you said, it's a gateway, you come down under the trestle. Now, if we could do something with the trestle, God help us, that's the ugliest thing in the world, is the trestle. If I go by there, I think, I ought to get out here with a can of paint and a paintbrush. But yeah, that's what people see when they come into town. It's
Right.
terrible,
Absolutely.
It's
Yep.
terrible.
Yeah.
So hopefully when they do the train station, they'll do something with the overpass. But yeah, I think it'll make a big difference on that corner, so.
Yes, it
okay?
will.
And
Thank you
we'll
so
come back
much.
to
If I may.
report,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes,
and we will come
absolutely.
back to report as we go through the stages, just to keep you updated on what the scoop is. And
I too want to thank your commission and your members for enhancing our community and
Oh,
making our community
thank
a
you.
more beautiful place to live.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
That's it, everybody?
We're happy.
All set?
we're
Okay.
happy. Thank you. Item number 10, discussion and possible action. So we need to make a discussion and possible action, sorry. It says discussion and possible action regarding the Culture and Arts mural. Are we given the approval to go ahead with it? Yes. We need to make a motion.
You need to make a motion, yes, to
Yes.
let them,
I'll make
empower
a
them to
motion
move
for the
forward.
Culture and Arts Commission to move forward with exploring and proceeding with the mural at the corner of Broad and Main Streets.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Trish Danka, second by Pat Lombardi. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 6-0. Okay. Item number 10, discussion and possible action regarding the potential sale of 150 and 170 Main Street to the State of Connecticut DOT for the upgrade of the Waterbury Branch Line Main Street Station. Once again, we need a motion, first and second, so we can have a discussion. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Trish,
Seconded.
second by Pat. Discussion. Kurt? Attorney?
If I may, I just think for the record, the motion is the motion to approve a sale of 150 to 170 Main Street to the state of Connecticut? Is that the motion that's being made?
There is no motion. It's a discussion and possible action regarding the potential sale of 150 to 170 Main Street to the State of Connecticut DOT for the upgrade of the Waterbury Branch Line. We are making a motion to discuss.
Oh, you don't need,
Well, I'll
don't-
actually make a motion for the sale of 150 and 170 so we can discuss, because
Yes.
this is the
That's-
state, and if we don't sell it to the state, they're just going to take it, so.
Okay, motion by Trish. Second by Al.
So, through you, Madam First Selectwoman, so I got some more information from Mark Vitale from the state of Connecticut. The board had asked me to ask a few other questions. I specifically reached out to him to ask about the loss of parking spaces. His response, or from the or the person in charge of the project, unfortunately, the best we can offer is that when a construction manager is selected, we can explore construction staging to maximize parking. Parking area is required for the construction and staging of the project. I understand the town's position, but there isn't much more we can offer when it comes to accommodations. The compensation that is being offered is for the DOT to own and control these spaces. As you know, we try to work with property owners as best we can. So when that information was received, we reached out to town engineer Brian Asteriak to ask him to take a look at parking downtown, just to give the 7 of you, just a better understanding of kind of what's what and to answer any questions that you may have. So when you do make your decision, you have enough information to do so. So I'll turn that over to Town Engineer, Mr. Eric.
So I was asked maybe about a week ago to do a parking analysis. If I was going to do a full parking analysis, I'm probably not done yet, but I did compile some data that might be useful in your discussions. So I went around and I looked at how many parking spaces there are in the downtown area, and I looked essentially from Route 67 to the Trestle Tavern parking lot, and I came up with, for public parking, so this is obviously our parking lots, there's 3 main parking lots outside of the train station, along with all of the street parking, and we have a total of 306 parking spaces that would fall under public parking. For private parking, and this is anywhere from the town hall parking lot to the AutoZone parking lot to behind Tickle Pink, all that, we have another 292 parking spaces. So we have a total of 598 parking spaces available downtown. They are proposing to remove temporarily 30 parking spaces at the train station, and then 20 parking spaces, if you want to call it that, in the private lot that was part of the Seymour Trust lot.
Right.
Which my understanding is that has already been transferred to the state. The state now, I believe, owns that. There's not really 20 parking spaces there because it's all coned off, and I don't know what the owner's been doing there, but obviously there's not availability for 20 spaces right now in the way it goes. When they finish this project with the current plans, there will be 27 parking spaces at the train station, and there will be 19 parking spaces in a different configuration of that private lot, all open to the public, right? So we are talking about a temporary removal for this project, which is, I think, 12 months, they said? 12 to 18 months? 12 months. Of about 50 parking spaces. Say half is public, the other half is the trust parking lot. It's about a little over 8% of the total parking downtown. That's the data. To throw in a little extra, I've driven through the town. I mean, I drive through the town all the time, but I purposely went through the town over the last 2 weeks, during the day and at night, on multiple occasions. And I'm going to say, at best, 60% of the spaces were occupied at any given time. In my opinion, living here my whole life, there is always plenty of parking in downtown during regular hours. When you have an event, we have a pancake breakfast, when we have a Memorial Day parade, maybe it's a little more congested, but in my experience, it seems like there's plenty of parking. You may have to walk, let's be honest there, but
I think that, yeah.
there's plenty of parking.
So it might be a headache for a year, but, and it's good to hear this information, because I was just thinking, how good is how long are studies good for, right? Because we did have a study done, I don't remember how long, does anyone
2012.
remember how long ago we
It's
had
in
it?
that document that you guys
2012,
have.
and, yeah, it was, I'm sorry, I missed the last meeting, so I don't know what was really discussed, but, at that time, they were like, we have more than adequate parking, so if you're seeing the same thing, I do
Yeah, and I
think it's,
adjusted that. I looked at that study as part of the preparation of this, and then I updated it because we did a whole lot of work since then, obviously changing the parking around.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more parking now, actually.
I mean, I think it's great. I think part of the problem too is some of the business owners want to accommodate their clients to just park and come into their store because that's a nice draw, but then they've got to stop parking in front of their store too. So, it's a kind of a half a dozen or the other. So I think for a year's worth to have a better site over at the train station, it might be a little bit of a headache, and like you said, people might have to walk a bit further, but it'll be well worth it.
Those are the plans. You didn't see them last meeting, so.
Another
Thank
thing
you.
to consider, and I don't know if there's any truth to this, but this is just my
Such an
opinion.
improvement.
There's probably going to be less people going to that train station during the construction. I know they're going to be putting buses in and everything, but I would imagine when that is going to be occurring, people are going to choose to not take the train or go somewhere else that is a little more convenient. There may not be any truth to that, but that's just what I would expect.
Well, with all that being said, and I'm in favor of this project, okay? I happen to be the parking enforcement officer who lived really down there for 5 years, so I'm well-versed on the parking situation. However, here's my concern. We have a parking lot right now, I think it's P1, which is over by Broad and Main Street, okay?
Yeah, the
And-
trust.
Yes.
Right,
Right.
and here's my point, we need to, make merchants, residents, whomever aware that that parking lot is available, because to go by there on any given day of the week, and I probably go by there about at least 4 times a week, okay? There's no less than 6 cars in that lot. And it has the capacity, okay, for more vehicles. And someone might argue, well, you know, it's too long of a walk from that lot to downtown. Well, I timed it. It's like a minuscule of a minute. So it's really, you know, it's really not a big deal. My point being, again, that I think we have an underutilized parking area, and we need to better promote that.
And I think the last time I checked it, it could use some striping.
Yes.
Excuse me?
It could probably use some striping to make it a little more
When,
obvious.
when
But we can talk to
the,
DPW about it.
yeah, when the lot was originally formed, okay, it was striped for, I can't tell you how many spaces. As a matter of fact, because of the riverbank being so close, we had Public Works go in there and put large boulders so that nobody's car would be, you know, impacted or going into the river. So,
I counted that there's 30 spaces available down there. And I've
30.
never seen say 10 in that
Yeah.
lot. So we could talk to DPW and see if the striping needs to be updated.
I'm sure they'll
Striping
do it.
and more signs, more signage as well to let people know that there's free parking down there, or there's parking down there. Trish?
I already made my comments, thank you.
Al?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for the data.
Fred?
Well, I'm going to fall on the sword on this one. I think there is an effect on parking. I worked in downtown Seymour for almost 30 years, and customers, clients, business owners, everybody wants to park very close to where their door is.
Or in
That's
front
the
of their
problem.
business.
It's a behavior problem or issue. And people would drive off from businesses as a result of the parking issues. I also think that if we're going to try to rely on the Trestle Tavern, so-called parking lot more, we need to improve the sidewalk. The sidewalk going from the post office on both sides, the sidewalks need to be replaced. They're in tough shape. Anyway, that's an aside, but I have,
Can I comment that?
Yeah,
So the job that just went out to bid, and we're going through the final administrative paperwork for the improvements of Main Street. Part of that project is replacing
oh, good,
some
okay,
of the bad sidewalks down there before you get to Zoe's.
that's good.
There are some more sidewalks, I completely agree with you, that need some work down there, but at least some of them will be getting done probably this summer as part of that project.
I made my comments last time. I think there's going to be some effect on the economic viability of downtown Seymour, especially during construction. So I vote no,
Oh, we didn't vote yet, but okay.
but I'm just telling you.
I
Put
understand.
it on the table.
Preempted. Go ahead. Teresa?
Thanks, Brian, for getting this information for us, because I never knew these numbers before. And I know that P1 parking lot well, and I don't think it's being used. You know, you go to Stop and Shop or any of these stores and you have parking for mothers with infants. And, nobody wants to, I look at it and I said, they got an infant, I'm a senior, where's my parking? Everybody wants a close spot, is my point, when they go shopping. I don't think P1, no matter what we do with it, is going to make people go down there and park. I know it's 30 spots or so you said, but unless they're going to be going over to Zoe's or, that's about it, I guess, maybe to Horrible's surveying. There's not really a reason for people to park down there, and I think that's why it's empty all the time. Even I think if we looked at it during our events, I don't know how many people would park there unless it's a Memorial Day parade. But that being said, it's only 30 spots. I don't think we're really letting our residents know, because it sounds like a chronic problem. You know, when we look back in this plan of 2012, it was looked at, and it said it was like an image problem we have. The spots are there, but people keep saying we don't have parking in downtown Seymour. So maybe if we can get out to the public better of where these other areas are that they can be parking at. Everyone knows you can't park in AutoZone, but, you know, go over to the Fish Bypass. That's not a long walk to go from.
Actually, you can park in AutoZone.
And just one final comment, okay, in respect to that, in respect to downtown with the merchants. When I first started in that position, I heard all kinds of excuses from the merchants, okay? But I will tell you this, the merchants, okay, were probably the biggest offenders, okay? So they have to be re-educated now, okay, that you shouldn't be parking in front of your business. You can't complain that there's no parking there when you're a business owner and you've got one or more employees
Yeah, that's not,
that's parking.
that's not good business to
Yeah.
do it that way.
Exactly.
So maybe if you could reach out and encourage them to be parking in these areas like, you know, the P1.
Exactly.
I know, you know, just, yeah, I mean, that's 30 business people that can be parking down there and having the spots. So I think it's more of a communications that we have to start working
And I
on.
do totally acknowledge for a year, it's going to be a headache and might have an effect, and that's not going to be great for our downtown, but I would not want to impede progress or have the state just say, well, too bad we're taking it because we need it anyway, by not allowing it to go through. So, I mean, I think that's a quandary and unfortunately something we've got to try and solve for with good communication, and this parking is available and we understand it's not as convenient, and it is going to be some time, but it's temporary.
I think,
Right?
I think the
Still
train
temporary.
station improvements are a great addition to our town. It's much needed. If I could go back in town, I'd love to have that old train station that we used to have.
Yes.
Attorney Stanek, I bet you remember that one too. That, we're not going back in that time, but this is a beautiful addition. I just have some questions when we get down to the money part is my concern.
Well, if I may on that,
Absolutely.
the price should be reflected in the motion, so we want to add that, but the compensation is $196,300. That's what the state has offered, and
So can I just amend my initial motion to make it for the sale of 150 and 170 Main Street for $196,000 for the state's improvement to the Seymour Station?
you can do that, and
Okay.
Pat has to second the amendment that
All right.
will
Will I make that
graciously
motion?
allow.
Motion by Trish,
Second.
second by Pat. Okay. So, I know Teresa had asked you about getting a survey done, not a survey, a
Appraisal.
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 And that's gonna take some time.
Yes, yes. The state wants to know tomorrow if we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Because if we're not going to do it, then they're going to take it. And that's not to say, if they take it and you go through the condemnation process, eminent domain in Superior Court, then we can get an appraisal for that, and we can contest the valuation and go forward in that manner. But we have no ability to get an appraisal on this short window, believe me. We have contacted many commercial appraisers, and it's a very tight window, so that we can't turn it around. And I think you all know that from our experiences in the past waiting on appraisals.
So my question is, what is the property assessed at?
I'll defer to, I believe it's roughly 240,000. Isn't that the number, Mr. Miller?
I believe it's in the ballpark, yeah.
So my concern, and you know it is, because I just feel that we're not getting the fair price for it, is we just went through a whole assessment in the town. My concern is, are we setting something here that's saying, Well, we did this assessment for, and it's assessed at 240, but your property's really, you know, we're not giving you the right numbers. I mean, it just sounds like, why aren't we getting the numbers that we just went out and got assessed for?
Well, I'll give you the short answer. Valuation of property is not a precise science.
I get that, but we have a lot of residents in this town that,
People
personally,
have-
I'm concerned that maybe my house isn't being appraised right now if we're saying that this wasn't, and it's a town parking lot.
People have different opinions as to value. They have an appraiser that put a value on it of $196,300. There could be another appraiser who thinks it's worth 240. There could yet again be another appraiser who thinks it's worth 300. Or there could be an appraiser who thinks it's worth 100,000 because it's public parking. And it's not a, you know, it's not a significant economic use.
And when did we get this initial offer of 196,300?
Back in December.
When it came to this board.
So now we're in March. I mean, that was 3 months we probably could have gotten an appraisal on. I mean, I'm just looking, you know, the budget is, we're doing the budget process now.
Let me just say this, if you don't think that's a fair number, vote no, and if the pleasure of this body is to vote no, we could contest valuation in court. We're not foreclosed on value if you don't want to accept that.
And I'm hearing, okay, we don't take this, then they're going to take it through eminent domain.
They're going to take it anyway.
If they take it through eminent domain, will they be giving us this price of 196,300?
We get nothing.
Or do we get nothing?
No,
Because when you get it in
right?
court, the judge
yes,
Appraisals.
they will be using $196,300 and paying that sum into court.
Okay. So we would get that amount.
Yes. Yes.
And
Well-
we would need to spend money to prove
I,
otherwise.
I understand that, but my concern is, as I keep saying, it's like a $40,000-$50,000 difference. I'd rather have that money in the town of Seymour's coffers than in the state keeping it up there. So, and I know we have almost a full board here tonight. I will be still voting no because I just don't think it's in the town's best interest. And I
But
think
I
as a
think-
town, we should have been looking for more money.
I think all those questions are fair, because as you were asking them, I'm like, that's all fair stuff. But I think the issue is if we fight it in court, now we're spending money that
understand
we
that.
don't really have.
I understand that, but the town
When
also
they
had,
can take it and
the
command.
town's had 3 months to, you know, question it back in the beginning when we got this amount in. I mean, I got this number when I first got my packet and it said the amount, and I looked right into saying, I went right to the assessors and saw the difference in the numbers. I would think that, you know, I'm a volunteer on a board. I would hope people in town would be looking out for the town's best interest
Sure.
by making sure that we're getting the full market value that's, and if we went and they said no, well, then that might have been a difference at that
That's
time.
not the full market value, though. Full market value is driven by someone that actually wants to purchase it. What
Right.
you're talking about is an assessed value.
Correct.
It's something different.
Well,
So it's
it's
two
still-
different things. I just want, it's not.
Right.
It's two different things. I just want to make sure that is very clear. Sales price is driven by someone who wants to sell and someone who
Sure.
wants to buy.
Sure,
At
and
the
they
end
could
of the
drive up
day.
farther.
Correct. So I
But this
wanna
is
make sure
just
that's
on,
clear.
on solid numbers that we have from the assessor, is what I'm going by.
So,
Right, they're still just parking spots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I totally get what you're saying, and I don't know, I'm still leaning towards
Mm-hmm.
yes, because it's,
so if we
It's
were,
still a parking spot.
so if we were to go into court and by eminent domain, would the 190, the figure of
I think it's when you do
$196,300
the,
would,
after the assessment part. it
Could
comes out
the
to be
judge
240,000
reduce that amount?
raised. You know, 70%.
That most likely would not happen.
240 to 70%.
Okay, what
No.
was that? I'm sorry. There's
I
a
asked-
sidebar going
Yeah,
on over
we-
here.
right.
I'm
I
getting
asked
distracted.
if we went into court and, you know, by taking it by eminent domain, if the judge could reduce the sale price of $196,300. Council's answer was, no, that would not happen.
What you're looking at.
what if the value dropped? I mean, when
Let's
the
just-
assessment
yes.
changed?
I mean, what
Then
you're
it would be
looking at
less.
is the cost of procuring the appraisal, the cost of attorney time.
Yeah.
That's your, if you will.
Would we
you're
have to
going-
pay,
You're going to spend money chasing more money.
would,
right? So you basically have for these parking spaces a number of 196,300.
So it's about 40,000 less than that we're showing currently.
Then
We
your
might be able
assessed
to get.
value on your grand list.
So, hold on, so would we have to pay their attorney fees as well?
No.
So Rich, approximately what cost would that be? Can you give us a range?
Well, yeah, ballpark?
Yeah,
Just ballpark.
yeah,
This is
not
just
gonna hold you to it,
gut.
just curious.
This is just my
Your
gut.
experience,
Just
yeah.
my gut telling me between a commercial appraisal and legal fees in terms of valuation, you're probably talking about $20,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying if something changes in the market and things drop, by the time it's settled, we could actually
Well,
get less.
No.
You can find yourself not getting
Yeah.
an appraised value that reflects your assessed value, which was as of October 1.
Right,
So if the market goes down
right.
and you're going to say they start the process tomorrow, right? And that's, say they go to tomorrow. You can find, if the market now is less than the valuation date for your grand list, yeah, you can have a lower appraisal than what you
Which
think.
changes the assessed value.
Well, it
I'm
doesn't
not
change
saying
the
it's
assessed-
likely
it doesn't
or
change-
equal, I'm just saying it's
It
possible.
doesn't change the assessed value for that grand list. I mean, that's done for taxation purposes. If, and they may not pull the trigger as quickly as that on an eminent domain. It may take a little while. They
I just don't see the town winning
they
this.
could.
It's
I'm
not
going to say this,
up,
Patrick.
it's,
They
parking.
could get a different appraisal. Okay? And they could file a statement of compensation and eminent domain in Superior Court based upon a different valuation number.
Right.
They have a different number.
Yep.
They could do that. That number could be less than 196.3.
I guess that's what I was getting at, thank you.
That's,
I'm
that
not
could happen. They're
familiar
not
with this.
necessarily wedded to their offer letter.
Right.
They can start the process, they can do it differently. This body has taken property before, we've taken easements before, and we have one that went on for a very long period of time, and we might have looked at it one way when we started, and we looked at it a different way when we ended. So I'm just saying, there is some elasticity in the process.
Right.
And again, I would say this is not a precise science. It is an opinion as to valuation by a professional, and different professionals have different opinions.
So,
Looking
and for,
at the same thing.
and for the record, Teresa, when this first came, I said no, because it's stupid to upgrade. I said, and Kirk can agree or disagree, I said, this is stupid to upgrade this train station when we're trying to get a train station down there for future development. So I did not agree with getting this development done. So I was saying no from the get-go. But when the state came in and said, well, we're gonna take it by eminent domain, they're taking it either way. We can sit here as a board and get 6 no's,
Right.
and guess what's gonna happen?
Mhm.
They're gonna take it by eminent
I
domain,
understand
and
that.
we're gonna get stuck with that 196.
Right. And I also understand that other part with the secondary train station down on the Haynes property, because when the DOT was doing the study, I was the state representative, and I said, put that there, because if it's not in the plan now, when we go to build down there, they're going to say no. And we did get it in, but the way that's moving, I mean, we're looking, I hope it'll be in my lifetime, we're looking, way out. So we do need this train stage. I'm not saying that we don't need this, and I don't like the way it looks. I just thought we could have been doing better for the money for the town of Seymour.
Are we done? Because I have one more
Go
thing to
ahead.
add. So it sounds like we'd be spending about $20,000 roughly in an appraisal and legal fees to chase $40,000. So we'd net 20, potentially. I don't see that as a good investment. And after, having worked actually for Rich and Birch and Moses, handling appraisals quite a bit, mostly residential, but some commercial we had, and with Attorney Lima. It is an art and a science. So you don't know, like Rich said, what's going to come back. Reasonable minds can differ as to an appraisal, so I don't want to get married to the numbers, but I do know that we'd be spending 20 grand. And while I appreciate the argument, I think I got a vote in favor to push this forward like I did before, so that's where I stand.
I mean, I'm not happy that the state, which is, pushing economic development, is being so rude about the parking spaces and not seeing how it's going to affect. Even though we have enough parking done by our study, right, and the data, it's just very rudely of them and uneconomically friendly of them to be doing what they are doing. That's my stance on this.
I agree with that statement. I think the state is acting like a bully in this situation. And it did so also in the redevelopment of the intersection that Stop and Shop and where Subway is, by bumping out the road in front of Subway and the Chinese restaurant. That's affected the economic viability of those small businesses, because there used to be 3 parking spaces there, and people like myself would pull in, quickly get a sandwich and pull out. People can't do that now. They have to pull into that narrower parking lot, where I know the town has an easement for parking for the public. But the overall concern that I have also is the state really has served as a bully here and not taking into account our concerns. And I think there might have been a longer lead time here that the state could have approached us about this.
I would imagine too that if we force them to go the eminent domain route, they're not going to work with us at all on the parking. They're just going to block off all the spots from December to December. So that's another thing to keep in mind. There's going to be a value to maintaining parking downtown.
And I do appreciate your efforts as officials of the town in this project. I appreciate what you've done.
Yeah. So
It's tough being a red town and a blue Hartford. So there you go. That's
No.
my opinion.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
If I could ask the town engineer, Brian, if you could possibly give us a little printout of that the quick parking analysis that you did?
Well, I have 3 extra copies.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I'd take one.
If you'd like them, and then I can email the rest of them.
Yeah. Thank you.
take one and pass it on to 2 others.
It wasn't set
I'll
up
wait for the email.
for,
Everyone's waiting
it
for
was
it.
more just like notes that I would understand.
Sure.
So
It's
not
fine.
meant for,
Yep.
it's not intuitive, I guess. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to
But
answer.
thank
Thank you.
So we have to vote on this, and we have to move it forward.
So if you accept the amendment, then you could vote on the motion as amended. Or you could vote on the amendment first and then vote on the motion. Either way.
We amended
we
the
amended
motion
the
to
motion.
include the 196,300. We amended that
So
already.
you're voting on it.
Right.
Then you're accepting that as a friendly amendment, as they say. Very friendly. Save us some time.
I won't be a stickler on that issue.
What would you like me to say? How do you want me to correct it?
No, you're
No,
good.
you're good.
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're all correct. So now it's just a yes or no vote when people are ready.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Abstain? Noes?
No.
No.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 4-0-2.
4-2-0.
4-2-0, sorry. All right, thank you. But I do want it noted for the record, that's right, I did say that loud, I'm sorry, I apologize. That I would expect more from the DOT in looking at smaller towns and being more economically friendly to what they're doing. And I
Based on
bet
the
you,
impact,
at least on the
absolutely.
impact of what it's going, how it's going to affect us, even though we have enough parking.
State government at work.
Even though we have enough parking, it's still not economically friendly.
I will stress that in my email response to them tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Stress it too much.
Yeah. Number 11, discussion and possible action regarding the strategic planning committee. Since Bob Finley is not here, I would like to table this as he's part of the strategic planning committee along with Trish. And I just think it's right to discuss this with both of them here.
Correct. I think that's what we had talked about at the last meeting, was because we didn't have the full board and Trish and Bob weren't here. I know Fred said about bringing it back up. So, yeah, it would be good when the full board's here.
Okay.
There's nothing urgent, right?
No.
Anne Marie, so, yeah.
Can I have a motion to
Make a
table?
Motion to table.
2. Pat Lombardi and Trish Dink, all in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Executive session review pending litigation, Sukow versus Higgins. Attorney Bertul?
Yes, I would ask that the board, along with Mr. Miller and myself, go into executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation, Sukow versus Higgins.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion to go into executive session with our Chief Administrative Officer, Kurt Miller, and Attorney Richard Bertarla present.
At 7:53 PM. All in favor? Oh, second by Trish, second
Second.
by Al Bruno, all in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Motion by Pat,
Microphones.
second by Al, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
you wait till I get to the abstentions.
He jumped it quick, too. Very
Motion carries
Stanek was right
5-0-1,
there.
please. No, Mr. Stanek's abstention.
Plant that flag, Fred, I love it. Damn it.
All right. Transfers, there are no transfers.
You guys killed
See
me.
who's gonna beat who to it.
You guys killed me.
Oh, here we go, microphones. Tax refunds and abatement, in your package you see there is a tax refunds and abatement from Christine Swanson, the Assistant Tax Collector.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Trish, second by Al, thank you. Just under appointments, we did know that the Conservation Commission wants to put a Trails Committee together that will be on at our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, correspondences in your packet. You'll see a bunch of correspondencing in the school construction financing estimates. We did.
We did.
Oh,
I made the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We did because Fred abstained.
No.
That was
Right.
the
Oh.
session.
Oh, sorry.
What she always does.
It all happened so fast.
Blur.
Fred threw the
Let's
monkey
not,
wrench in
let's
that.
not push
501.
things.
Thank you. All right, there we go. Correspondence, school construction financing estimates. There's a base estimate. Kurt, did you want to talk about this one? Is that why it's in the packet?
Oh, no, this is what I went through at the last.
Meeting, oh, for those that weren't here, got it.
For the last meeting, and then I was going through a lot of numbers very quickly, so people had asked just to see the actual breakdown itself.
Okay.
So here's what I
Great.
went through.
All right, in your packet, you had asked at the last meeting for a job description for the emergency management director, which is a stipend position, which is an appointed by an ordinance. It's not a position we hire for. It is an appointed position. Okay, and then there's a letter from our chief of the fire department, Chris Edwards, to let us know that our ISO rating has improved from a class 4Y to a class 3. The rating goes from 1 to 10, 10 being least effective, 1 being the best. What this class 3 does is it helps with our insurance as well as homeowners with their insurance, knowing that their trainings and what they need to do to get to a class 3. The hard work and the continuous progress is going on. And Chris breaks it down to what is the ISO rating for everybody to see, which I think is wonderful. Our fire department is doing good. That all the hard work they do. Also, you'll see in your packet is a letter from Tim Willis. I will read it into the record, if you don't mind. says, "Good afternoon, Anne Marie. I'm sending a bit of an odd request after having spoken to some of the others CC'd on this email, and CC'd on this email is Kurt Miller, James Baldwin, Robert Rockwell, and Chris Edwards. I am requesting that you bring to the Board of Select Persons my request to name the newly created conference room in the enforcement wing of 20 Pine Street after my deceased brother, Christopher J. Willis. Recently, Steve Ditria mentioned the creation of some meeting rooms in Town Hall once our offices moved to their new home. This got me thinking that I would appreciate the town honoring one of their own. If they are going to rename rooms, I would like to see one named after him. Both Kurt and Jim Baldwin suggested we name the meeting room at 20 Pine Street near Building Department in his honor. My brother, a devoted member of both the Seymour Fire Department as well as a commissioner with Seymour Ambulance Association, passed away at the age of 24 years old from cancer. As time has passed and research of other firefighters' cancer deaths show, there is a likelihood that this may have occupational cancer. In June of 22, the Seymour Middle School planted a tree in his honor of my brother. This was due to the fact that one of many things, he donated his time on teaching CPR and was a first aid to middle school students. This tree meant a lot to my parents. Approximately 5 years after my brother passed, the tree was cut down to make room for a playground for Team Head Start. My family was never notified, and I had to find out by accident on an inspection when I went to go visit it. The playground has since been removed as well. I feel this is the way to right the wrong. As I know you are aware of some things my brother accomplished here is his brief biography. He was a member of Citizens Engine Company for 6 years. During that time, he obtained numerous certifications and was a top responder for 4 of the 6 years he was a member. He was a member of the Seymour EMS as well as a CPR and first aid instructor. In February of 2001, he was credited with saving the life of a local woman whose car flipped over off of South Main Street and ended up upside down in the frigid water at the bottom of Connolly Road. He had selfishly helped her keep her head above water while she was extracted and the life starred to Yale New Haven Hospital. He himself ending up in the hospital to be treated with hypothermia. On January 1, 2002, he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of melanoma. He died just 99 days later at the age of 24. During those last 99 days, he still responded to calls and assisted the FD until he was physically unable to do so. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my request. This is minuscule thing would mean a lot to my family, and I know the tree being cut down bothered my mother until unfortunately she passed away to cancer as well in 2014. I'd be willing to pay all costs out of pocket for any signage that may be installed. Thank you.
If I may make a motion,
Motion by Fred Stanek.
Second.
I would like to move that we add to the agenda for discussion and possible action the request by Tim Willis for the naming of the conference room on behalf of his brother.
Second.
Motion by Fred, second by Trish. Discussion?
I know this just came before us, and I know Tim, and
Point
I...
of order. Discussion of adding to the
Oh,
agenda.
I'm sorry.
No? All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions? Chair votes aye. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Okay, we will add it to the agenda after we finish correspondences.
Okay.
Okay.
Whenever.
A letter in your file from Ralphie Funeral Home in regards to the work that is being done on the town road work in West Church Street. He has concerns in reading this about, when he does firefighters, about parking on there. Brian did say that they can look at making the sidewalk a little bit thicker over that area so it can hold the heavy equipment, the heavy truck. And then you have your downtown action strategy. Those are your correspondences. Now on to the next item on the agenda, which we just added, and that is naming the conference room in the wing at 20 Pine Street. Okay. Table discussion. Huh?
What item are we on?
We are on the new item that we just added.
Okay. Before we do that, could I just go back to the correspondence on the emergency management director job classification here? And my comment, I guess, would be that I would hope that this gets forwarded to our Charter Revision Commission to be put into the charter. We have several items within the charter that just relate to Connecticut statute with no statute number.
Correct.
And, okay, no description. So I would like to see this forwarded to them so that they can review it and possibly incorporate it into the charter.
You want a job, so I want to make sure I understand so I can refer this back to the Charter Commission. You want the Charter Commission to put the job description in the charter.
Yes.
Attorney Bertula, is that enough?
Well, I would defer to the Charter Revision Commission. I'm not sure you want to put the job description in, and maybe you want to put in the duties and responsibility
Yeah.
of the emergency management director. And there's two schools of thought, I'll just give it to you, having done more charter revisions than I care to remember. But there's two schools of thought with putting statutory references specifically in the body of the charter, as opposed to saying something like all those powers in accordance with state law or granted by state law or something like that, because sometimes these statutes,
Change.
the numbering changes, and sometimes the statutes are repealed. When, for example, if you go to the Freedom of Information statutes, which are now at 1-200 at SEC of the Connecticut General Statutes, they used to all have different numbers, and they were in a different part. So there's two schools of thought on that, but again, I defer to the Charter Revision Commission and my learned colleague, Brian Leclerc.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna say- I just have,
Brave of you.
I just want to say, in the charter, it says here, his or her duties and responsibilities shall be identified in an ordinance established in accordance with section 7.5 of this charter. So do we need an ordinance?
There is no 7.5 in the charter.
And that serves to illustrate my
There you go.
sometimes, when you use numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
All
We'll
right.
forward this on to the Charter Revision
Okay.
Commission.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. So, thank you, Mr. Lombardi.
And then, let me just add to it, a little frustration as a town attorney, and then when you're asked to give an opinion, then sometimes you have to do a whole reconstruction, basically like a legislative history, to try to
Right.
figure out what they meant.
Intent, yeah.
What was it at that time? So,
That's
I'll
what
just leave that aside.
That's what we paid the big bucks to Brian for.
Please. 4 hours of my life I'm never gonna get back.
A lot of
I'll
love.
let you in on a little tip, just feed him, he'll be
Okay.
happy.
Thought that was Lima.
Right.
Both of them.
If we could get on to the request, please.
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Sinek, you wanted this added to the agenda. We're going to discuss. We've added it to the agenda. Let's please discuss naming the enforcement wing of 20 Pine Street after Christopher J.
I
Willis.
think Selectwoman Conroy wanted to speak.
Okay.
I'll yield to her first.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I appreciate this letter from Tim. And as I said earlier, yeah, I know him, I knew his brother, and the family. I'm not sure if I'm in favor of naming the meeting room at the community center. I know that we just got this request, and I'm sure if once people hear this, we'll probably get, 20 more requests for building or naming building for people. I'm almost thinking, though, it's more appropriate if we did, and I don't know what the name is now, but this Assembly Hall over here? Does anybody remember Assembly Hall? Am I just?
Yes.
Assembly Hall at Seymour
Yes.
Ambulance.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called, is Assembly Hall?
Yes.
I think, he was fire department, he was ambulance, they do training that's a training room over there, I believe. I almost think that that's more of an appropriate building to name for him, knowing that he was fire and emergency services. That's my thought on this. I see my bookend down the end struggling here. That would be you, my bookend.
But you, Ms. Lombardi, that's why we're all looking at you.
I don't, I understand what you're saying and everything. And I could be wrong, and maybe I am. I was the chairman of the renovations to that building, and I know one of the stipulations under the grant was the lettering. That's my concern. I'm not against it. I'm all for it, whether it's done there or whether it's done at the community center. I would be in favor of it, but just, I don't know why it just sticks out in my mind.
Maybe, you know, and I don't think we have to act on this tonight.
We do not.
But maybe we can get a list of potential buildings or rooms or going down, so we know what we're looking at that are potential sites to be named.
Well, actually, under the ordinance, any name could be, any building, room, or building could
Right.
be renamed.
But how many do we want to rename things like Norman Drummer Room? I
No,
mean,
we don't. We
but
don't.
I mean, the
reason why-
availability of places now.
Just a thought, we could plant another tree in his name somewhere where it won't be cut down.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know
Just
either.
throwing it out there.
I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
Just
well,
saying, I don't like that.
I would like to see, we have those other rooms that we can
Yeah.
and look at and other areas, because it's probably something we might want to have just going forward for other requests. And I'm just looking, you know, it's a request and it's a great request, but
Yep.
is this going to open it up to others, and how are we going to decide how we're going to name places?
Good point.
That's my only concerns with it.
Yep.
Right. No, I understand, and I hear that, because it will, once, you know, there's other rooms open in there, but I think there's only one conference room in that building.
Right.
That is going to be, and I'm sure, other people will say, well, why can't we name it after this person, or why can't we name it after that person?
Right.
And I understand, and that's this board's duty,
Right.
you know, to hear the whys
Mm-hmm.
and the what ifs. And, you know, this is something we don't have to act upon now, but it is something that is brought to our attention, just like, you know, renaming Shoes Park, Broad
Right.
Street Park to
Right.
Shoes Community Park, or
Choose town.
Choose town,
Shoes Town Park?
community.
Well, I know that we had to.
Right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
it's something like that. You know, Tim Willis and his brother, the whole Willis family, big part of Seymour.
Absolutely.
Big part of
Yep.
Seymour, you know, and by looking at the biography, his brother did a lot
In a short time.
in
Yes.
a very short time of his life. And he, you know, and as other people have.
Right.
So this is brought to our attention, and I think we should actually look at this with an open mind, as this board is doing right now.
If I may,
Absolutely.
this room was named after, in honor, in memory of Norma Drummer, former town clerk, assistant town clerk, the Fleur de Room, former chief of police. There was not an avalanche
Right.
of people coming in to name other rooms in the areas of the town. I think it's wonderful that Tim Willis is proposing to name the room, ask us to name the room after his brother. As you said, Anne Marie, Chris and his family have done so much for this town. I think we should seriously entertain this proposal.
I do agree, because I also think it's a huge slap. Well, I think it's great they planted the tree, but you know, it is a bit of a slap when you have a family member who's died and done so much in a short period of time, and then the memorial kind of, that honor is then removed. So I agree with Fred on this one.
So, I mean, if everybody wants to think about this, we could table it. But
I
I would like to invoke the ordinance and send this along to a public hearing at some point.
That's where we
We
were
were back and
going.
forth
We
on-
were just about to remind everyone on the naming.
Yes, we have the ordinance.
We have the ordinance now, and we have to wait 30 days, but
Send
we
it.
could put this on the agenda for the next meeting.
That's what we were going to suggest. Unless you want to send it for a public hearing tonight.
If people want to think about it, I don't have an issue with that.
I would like to give everybody time to think about it and put it on our second March meeting. Oh my God.
Yeah, and just for background, because I had some conversation with Tim, the reason we talked about that room, because it's directly across from the code enforcement suite, where he is. So it was kind of special to him, seeing as though that was a brand-new conference room. So that's kind of the reason why that room was picked. Not to say that it's better than any of the other suggestions here, but that's just the reason why. And I think you've all come up with some good suggestions and alternatives as well.
I always
So-
think it's wonderful to name a room or an area in favor or memory or honor of someone who's done so much for the community. I would name every room after somebody who's done so much for the community, but that's just me.
Okay, so can I have a motion to table this to our March meeting, our next March meeting? I can't think of the date.
I'll move to table.
Second.
Motion by Fred, second by Pat. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
And just to clarify, so I have the agenda item right, it's just to discuss it, it's not to set a public hearing or anything like that,
It's
correct?
just to discuss, not set a public hearing.
We could always add to the agenda to set a public hearing if the majority wants to do that.
Correct. Thank you. Item number 17, public comment. Is there any public comment? No public comment. Okay, select person's public comment. Teresa, we already start you, so we're gonna start with Pat this time.
I'm good, thank you.
Pat, Trish?
I just want to apologize for not being at the last meeting unexpectedly and without any notice. I was quite sick, and while it only lasted a day, we'll just leave it as I was quite sick. So, and that's all that I have.
Thank you.
Better than slipping on the ice.
Al?
I'm good, thank you.
Fred?
Some of you may find this facetious, but I sent an email to Anne Marie asking that we have a Chewstown Board of Select Persons meeting at the park sometime in the spring.
Okay.
You didn't get my email.
I did see that email, yes, I did. I'm like, why is he calling us Shoestown?
Chewstown,
We have it under gazebo?
have a meeting at the park, just to
Can we
bring
bring
attention to
food?
it. Sure,
Some pizza?
just to bring attention to the new
Veggies?
name.
Sounds like a
Fruit?
cool idea, Fred.
And nicer weather, please.
Maybe
Not-
summer, when more warmer weather, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a thought. You
Good
may think
idea.
it's crazy, but just a thought.
Crazy.
Hot dogs, hamburgers, and marshmallows.
I think the name of the park now,
Marshmallows.
the name of the park
No.
amplifies and illustrates the community between the Indians and the early settlers of our community and the community spirit of our town at this time. And I would like to amplify that.
That's a good idea. And not to get off that, but you know, it'd be good when, for the June 24th to have something there.
At first, I think.
21st,
Yeah.
to have something there. Oh, I gotta talk to you, because I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Start gearing that up.
All right.
All right, thanks. Teresa?
I have, start with the not good and then end with good, I guess. I had a message that someone, a resident was concerned that they were told that there's numerous cameras in town hall and that all areas have the ability to record all the conversations. Is that true? And if it is, do we have that like noticed out there
So it's
anywhere?
absolutely true, and it is noticed, and it's really true for our employees and for the residents. It's noticed when you walk in the doors. It says you are being recorded, you are being videoed,
And audio too?
and audio too.
Okay.
Yep, it's
All
it's all noticed, and yes, they are. We have had several issues, without going into many details, where residents have come in and verbally attacked town hall employees. Or we've had people who's not being here, trying to stay in here overnight. So the camera picks them up.
Okay.
So yes, so you are videoed, you are, there's audio and there is video.
Okay. And this is just piggybacking off of that, now that I'm thinking of it. We have our Democratic Town Committee meetings here,
You have it in this room.
correct? Are they being videoed?
No, it's only in the hallways.
Okay, all right.
Just the hallways.
I mean, I just looked up and I'm like, okay, camera's on, all
No,
right.
wait, our cameras
Tip
are on
my
when we
hand
have our
here.
meetings, right?
Yeah.
Cameras are on when we have our meetings.
Right.
The hallways, to see who's coming and going. The hallways to hear if there's an issue between a resident
Mm-hmm.
and a town employee, or two residents. Or, I mean, we did have at one time, we did have someone's, a laptop was stolen right off their desk, and a cell phone was taken. So, and this was all part of the new camera package that was part of the budget from last year.
And with it being noticed, it's perfectly legal.
Right,
There's a
that's
lot
why I
of
just want to make sure
companies
we have
do
that
it.
there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The other part is, we're talking about Chewstown Park, Community Park, and the renaming. I would like to see in the future, this is a dream, it's an ask, if we could have like a bronze statue of Joseph Chuse at that park.
It's a wonderful idea.
We have the, whatever, simile, and if we could put something like that, I think that would be a great addition to the town.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, with a plaque underneath,
Yeah.
even just further
Explaining.
explaining
Right.
for people who are
Yeah.
not aware.
Mhm.
Love
Okay.
it.
Culture and arts, okay. That's all I have, thank you.
That's all you have? Okay, mine. Do you know, we had the roads update today for Bungee Road. Brian did a wonderful presentation. We will have that up on our website. It stays up on our Facebook page. We talked a little bit about Route 67. Route 67, we don't approve. That's a state road. We don't like the butt out, but the state put the butt out there. The sidewalks are getting done on Route 67. There was some talk about how come the bridge that was affected by the flood, how come that was still filled with ice, and how come Public Works didn't clean it off. That is not, those bridges are still being worked on by the state of Connecticut, so we cannot touch those bridges. That is a state bridge, and the state didn't want us clearing it. So it's not Public Works' fault. Public Works has done an excellent job with all the ice storms that we have had with down trees, down power lines. They were on it, as was our fire department, as was our police department. So we were hit storm after storm, at weekend after weekend, it seemed, with ice storms. It was crazy. And we had just said in our budget, the year before, well, winter hasn't been that bad. I think we kind of jinxed ourselves, and Mother Nature decided she was going to have some fun with us after the flood and fires and icing, and God only knows what's next. So we have that going on as Botsford Road. We're now looking at our next lot zip program to be done. We're looking at the Pearl and Maple Street, but we're also looking at Clinton Road. I think Maple and Pearl are the next important area to go. We did look at, Maple Street where Tide Burger is and the old Anna Lepresti School is. That light is an outdated light, and I had said in my last live with the first select woman that it's going to cost $1 million to replace it. The $1 million includes the four corners that we would actually have to put the new traffic light with a turn line on it, as well as the 4 walk signals would have to be updated and brought up to code, as well as those ramp areas would have to become ADA compliant. So that's where the $1 million comes in from, not just for that one light in the stanchion, it's also the crosswalks that would have to be put in there, and the painting and the striping. The chief, and I think Brian is doing the traffic study over there to see the car count. And the car count is going to be done during the heaviest of times, in the morning, in the afternoon, and at nighttime. And there are still currently cars running the light or turning over, turning and not stopping, making a right turn without looking about pedestrians, even though there's crosswalks there. I believe, no matter what we put there, people are just so distracted on their cell phones and they're not paying attention to what they're doing. It was suggested that we put stop signs there. Well, if people aren't paying attention to the red blaring light at you, they're not going to pay attention to a stop sign. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the study, and we're going to see. And if the study states that we need to put the lights in, that the number is there, then absolutely that's what we'll look at doing and working out how to finance it down the road. But if it says it just needs a stop sign and crosswalks, then we'll do that. We'll have to send that to the police commissioners, because that is really their purview, is the roads, stoplights, and enforcement is on them. But what we cannot do, and even though, there are some neighbors in that area that want it, or one person really, we cannot put an officer there 24/7. We do have officers there. We do have a crossing guard there in the morning. We spoke to some residents, and it is coming down, but we can't figure out when they're running the lights. We can videotape all day long, and we can send the videotapes in, but it's not like we're not, and the chief's not paying attention. He is paying attention. There is enforcement going on. We just can't put an officer there all the time, because there's other things happening in town.
But as far as the stop signs go, I don't know, but I think this is tied into the project. There were 4 new stop signs erected at Church Street and West Church. And they're about, I'm going to say, pretty close to 7.5 feet tall. And they have a red banner running down. And let me tell you, don't care whether the stop signs are 4 feet or 7.5 feet, they still go through those stop signs.
Right.
Never ending losing battle.
Exactly. And we have the, so that was that. So I'll get more information and keep everybody on the board up to date on that. March 23rd is This Is Me Walkathon at the Seymour High School from 9 to 12:30 p.m. Please make sure you go onto the This Is Me Facebook page. And I think we have it up on our town website as well. You hit the QR code and you can register to walk. I think they're expecting up to 102 walkers. There's currently 67 walkers signed up now. Remember, this is the first event. This is Wyatt's thing, trying to promote abilities and disabilities. Go ahead, Teresa. You were gonna say
No,
something?
go ahead.
So we're looking at that, and then I think that was pretty much it for me on everything. Teresa, do you have something to say?
I forgot to mention this. There's been some questions that were brought to me about the Father's Club building up at the high school.
Okay. I don't know if I can answer it, but go ahead.
Okay, who oversees that? Is it the town or the Board of Ed?
Board of Ed.
It is the Board of Ed.
Yes.
And I also heard that they were not going to allow food trucks for the 175th anniversary up there because they are the only ones that can sell food.
So I did hear that rumor as well. I heard that they are not, they have the exclusive right of selling food up there at the football field. If there's going to be food trucks, it has to be down by the softball field or in that back parking
And
lot.
where is this agreement that the Father's Club has with the Board of Ed?
I cannot answer. Maybe
So
Fred,
Board of Ed?
that would be a Board of Ed.
Yeah, I'm not aware of a written policy to that effect.
Okay.
So I guess we'd have to ask the Board of Ed on that question.
Okay, that was just something from the events committee when I went. And they also asked, if I can bring it to you, to ask the federal delegations or whatever to attend the Memorial Day Parade, to reach out to them.
The federal?
Federal and, I guess it's really just the federal that usually come, right? I don't know, that's just a message that I told.
They can send out the invitation. We can send out invitations and let them know as well. Yeah, not a problem.
Alex
just
might
a
have
messenger.
mentioned that to me. He said he could have mentioned it to you
you
too.
don't think we talk about this stuff?
No.
You don't?
People don't believe me, but I'm like, we don't
Yeah,
talk about
yeah.
this stuff because it just escalates.
I think
No,
somebody
no.
at that meeting said, well,
He
can't you
asked you,
ask
and I
your
have no
wife?
idea
And
what
he
you're
said, well,
talking
why don't you? And so I didn't want to get in trouble and forget.
Okay.
I wouldn't have told him because I didn't know he asked you to do anything.
And with that, I make a motion to adjourn at 8:45 p.m.
A communication is.
Thank you, everyone.
important.